Okay, so it's been roughly 24 hours since Sony aired their PlayStation showcase yesterday, and people have been sort of going through it and picking out different games to talk about. And in this case, we're going to talk about some of the hardware that was revealed at this show, which is something I wasn't necessarily expecting, and it almost felt like it was kind of an afterthought to the whole thing, with Jim Ryan going over two different pieces of hardware, those being the earbuds and Project Q, which has long been rumored and sounded very, very weird for Sony to attempt to do, but they're going to do it. And I wanted to discuss this a bit more in depth here today. So if you guys enjoy the video, make sure you like it and subscribe if you're new to the Spawn Wave Plus channel. So indeed, Sony's handheld, or new handheld, is real. It's a thing they're going to be releasing later on this year. And we did get some new information in a press release. This is over on Sony's own website. And I went through the trailer a bit because they didn't, to my understanding, looking through this, release any like high definition or high resolution images of the device. They also haven't really explained some of the other parts about it necessarily in depth, but we got some bits of information here that they say SIE also introduced Project Q, a dedicated device launching later this year that enables you to play any compatible game installed on your PS5 console using remote play over Wi-Fi with a vibrant 8-inch LCD screen capable of 1080p 60 FPS. So that's about what you'd expect for a resolution of a device that will be basically just streaming games, not playing them natively. And it's basically similar to what we have with the G Cloud. I guess that's the comparable here. The device delivers crisp visuals and smooth gameplay streamed from your PS5 when you're away from your TV. All the buttons and features of the DualSense wireless controller, including adaptive triggers and haptic feedback, are featured on the device. I believe that's the part that really sets this itself apart from things like the G Cloud or other ways for you to play, like streaming, even I guess using the backbone controller with a phone, is that this will feel as close as possible to also using your DualSense controller with it, if you're looking for one that I guess feels more like one piece rather than have a clip for a DualSense controller in your phone or setting it off to the side and using the DualSense controller. But let's take a quick look at this device. Again, I had to sort of go through the trailer and just pick different screenshots as I went. Mostly it's different angles of it. And the thing I noticed right away is that the light bar extends, seemingly anyway, all the way down the handle here of this controller, like for each side. And yeah, I know this system, the best way I can describe it, looks kind of phoned in, doesn't it? I mean, here's an image of it front facing more or less, and here it is next to the PS5. People are making fun of it, saying it looks like they used Fuse from Tears of the Kingdom with a DualSense controller and a tablet, and yeah, that's what it looks like. You know what's weird to me is, I mean, the system doesn't look very good. It looks bad, but it looks less modern than the PlayStation Vita. The Vita came out at the end of 2011, and it looks more modern than this thing that's coming out at the end of 2023. It just doesn't really look like they took it that seriously. I feel like they could have basically made this a bit sleeker and even opted for a smaller LCD screen. Did they need to go with an 8-inch one? Could they have gotten away with a 7-inch screen and made it more like looking, like, I guess not necessarily exactly like the Vita, but closer to it just being a sleek, kind of all-in-one looking device. In this case, though, they have handles, again, similar to what we've seen with the DualSense controller, and it will, of course, be using all the features from that accessory. So I guess in that case, it does make sense. But when you start looking around it, like here, this does feel like they had a grip in mind, and then they just put the tablet in the middle of it, and they were like, that's good, go ship it, right? I feel like this is going to be all one piece because you do see sort of the joystick pieces here almost merging in with this, basically the tablet screen. And maybe they have it set up like this because they are expecting to have the pricing lower, so it's more compelling. Because I'm looking at this right now, and I have some concerns in that regard with price. To me, the correct pricing here is under $200. If they can get it to $150, great. I think they at least have a shot to put this out there as an accessory to, as they've said, accompany the PS5. Very clear in the marketing that it's like, hey, you have a PS5, you can get this. Or you can get the headphones. They showed that next to it as well. And as much as people are kind of looking at this saying, why? I guess it's just another piece of the PlayStation quote-unquote family where you would have this as a coffee table accessory, basically. If people are in the living room using the TV for anything else, watching something, maybe playing another system, you could technically still play your PS5 using this basically modified DualSense controller with a big screen in the middle. So I can't say that there's zero functionality or zero reason for someone to pick it up. Would I have preferred them to just come up with a native device that could play PlayStation 5 games, maybe at PS4 kind of visual quality, but it wouldn't matter as much because it's on a screen and everything's sort of shrunken down? Sure, I think that would have been really, really cool because they could have still kept the option for remote play. And the thing I'm curious about is I have used remote play somewhat recently with that G Cloud. There is an application that you pay for. It's like $4 or something, but it gives a decent enough experience, and it's better than what Sony offers currently on Android devices. And I almost wonder if Sony has at least something that's a bit more optimized and would give a better experience here, or if sort of the form factor and the look of this that already feels kind of phoned in will carry over to the software side, which would be incredibly disappointing because at the very least, I would expect this to give us the best overall experience for remote play and not get beaten out by other applications on Android devices. Also, is this just going to be a tablet with Android running and that they've kind of dressed up for the purpose of simply doing remote streaming from your PS5? Because let's face it, this thing would get hacked almost immediately, and people would kind of explore exactly how much Sony decided to put into this. Oh, and something else to keep in mind with all of this around Project Q, Jim Ryan seems to be teasing a big push towards cloud gaming when it comes to PlayStation and their ecosystem. There's a good chance that this handheld, while it's being talked about as a remote play device, could also leverage their cloud gaming side as well, to where if you buy this, you wouldn't necessarily need a PlayStation console to play games. So I've mentioned where I think they should price this system, and to kind of close out here, I'm going to let you know where I realistically think they will price this system. And to be honest, I think it's $250, and that sounds weird for what this is really going to do. But looking at it, where it's an 8-inch screen, it has all of the features of the DualSense controller, I kind of think Sony would position it above the DualSense Edge, which is just a more premium, quote-unquote, DualSense controller, and kind of ship it that way, thinking, oh, it's coming in below what the G Cloud launched at with its pricing, and it would fit in with the market there, which I think is pretty limited as it is, considering if you really wanted to do this, you could buy the Backbone controller, which, by the way, is $100. So would this really come in at $50 more at $150? And it has the functionality of a screen, an entire all-in-one device where you don't need a phone to go along with it. I don't know. I feel like this is a very weird direction for Sony to take, but I guess they're viewing it more as an accessory, kind of similar to how they view the DualSense Edge. So to me right now, pricing is everything, but I will be picking one of these up, if nothing else, so we can check it out here on the channel and see exactly how much Sony wanted to put into Project Q. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.